Okay, so let's talk about a strategic action. So let's say that it is the Lizik MineNet's turn, and they have decided that they are going to execute the technology strategy card. So this would be their strategy card. So what they would do is what the primary ability says. It says receive one technology advance for which you have the necessary prerequisites. So they would take a look at the technologies that they have, and they would determine what they would want to take next. And we do have these nice technology trees that shows you what all the different prerequisites are. Certain technologies need other ones to research. So they would take a look in their technology deck, and they would look for something that they could use. And again, we have all sorts of different technologies in here which give us different abilities. So maybe they would pick the Sarween tools because they have Envirocompensator already. That's the required. Let's bring that a little closer. And then it says, whenever you produce units on any space stack, you now receive one additional resource with which to build units. So it gives you a little more resource to build those units, and that comes in pretty handy. We'll talk about producing units later on. So they would take that card, flip it up, and put it down next to their other technology cards, and that would be their action for that turn. They would then take their technology card, and anyone else in turn order, so starting with player number 1, would get a chance to execute the secondary ability, which says spend 1 command counter from your strategy allocation area and spend 8 resources to receive 1 technology advance for which you have the necessary prerequisites. Alright, so everybody gets a chance to do technology, and then once everybody has done that, we flip the card over to the inactive side, so that shows everybody, okay, this action has been taken, and it can't be taken again this round. So that would go up face down in front of the Lizik's MineNet. Alright. So now, those resources that we would need to build the technology would come from our planet cards. And right now we currently only have 4 resources. We have 3, it's the green number here, for this planet and 1 for this planet. So we couldn't execute the secondary ability right now. But if we did have enough resources to do that, and we wanted to use that for our research, then what we would have to do is we would have to go onto our game card here. In the strategy allocation area, we'd have to take one of our command counters off of there, and we would spend that to use that secondary ability. So you can see in a 6-player game, there's going to be 6 of these strategy cards out there. So we have to be thinking about which of the secondary abilities, if any, we're actually going to want to execute this phase. So we do have to be kind of always thinking and planning ahead for what is going to best help us in our goal to fill our objectives and so forth and so on. So that's a strategic action, and that can be, and everybody has to perform their strategic action at some point in the phase before they pass. So you know they're all going to be used before a pass comes. Let's talk about the tactical actions. Tactical actions involve moving ships and producing ships and so forth. To do that, you have to take one of these command counters from your command pool. So let's say that my ship's here. I want to go out and I want to capture a couple of planets out here on the board. So I've got all these systems that are around me. Now, moving from one system to another system costs 1 movement point. So we would look on our card here, and this gives us a good reference sheet of all of our units. So right now I've got a carrier, and a carrier has a movement of 1. And I also have a cruiser that has a movement of 2. Alright, and then I have some ground forces. Now the ground forces get carried on a carrier, and a carrier can hold up to 6 units. So what I can do is I can take my carrier, and I can decide that I'm going to go and come over to this system and capture these planets. So what I would do is I would take a command counter from my command pool, and I would place it on that system to activate the system. Once the system's activated, I can then move ships into it and take actions in this system. So I'm going to take my carrier to this system. I'm going to take let's even just take 5. I'm going to take all 5 of my foot soldiers here. And I will also, I'm going to leave my cruiser there. Alright, so then what I can do is I can land forces on these 2 planets. Now, since nobody owns these planets, they're not defended, so just by coming into the system and landing a ground force on it, I capture those planets. So then, if I capture a planet, what I do is I take the planet cards for those planets. So I have just captured a planet called Kornek. So I'm going to find its card. So here's its planet card right here. And you see it has 1 resource and 2 influence. And there's a little bit of a flavor text on there, which kind of helps us keep in the mood of the game. It's really thematic. And what I do is I would put that in my area, but I put it face down. It comes in exhausted. Okay, I can't use it for production or for influence in the turn that I get it. So that comes in exhausted. I also have captured the planet Resculon. So I'm going to find Resculon here. And again, I take that card. Now this planet here has a 2 production and a 0 influence. So, and that one also comes in flipped upside down because I just captured it and I cannot use the resources on this phase, in this turn, this round. So that is one example of a command, or using command counters for a tactical action. Now, once I've activated the system and finished this turn, I cannot move any ships from here this turn. I cannot move any more ships into this area, because once you've activated the system, you have to take all your actions there, and then you're done.